Hey guys, welcome to this video. My name is Mark from jazzguitarsons.net, and we'll talk about how to comp with minimal voicings as a jazz guitarist, and doing so on jazz standards, of course. So this is the 6th stage of using a replicable process, in my case, with my accelerator students. Link in description below. I work with a really small handful group of students and show them how to play comping and soloing on infamous jazz standards, including the chord melody stuff and the change running in the technique. So it's a lot of fun. In the 6th stage, which is one of the building blocks for learning to play on jazz standards, I show an approach in which we remove the bass notes. There are several ways to do this. I'm really open to all of the ways. I've explored them myself. I'll give you what I think makes more sense and that's the easiest to apply. So go back to your stage 1, where we said, we're playing Autumn Leaves, Mark. All right, so this is my A minor 7. This is my D. I'm going to do D9, or see people do D7 like this. Then a G major of sorts, and a C, right? Then after, right. So people will follow along to that form. So the easiest way to replicate stage 6 is just to let go of the bass note altogether and to keep whatever's happening somewhere in the middle of your register. Again, there's 1,000 ways to do that. People will learn their inversions, people will learn extensions, whatever. I'll just tell you, look, what I like to do is to keep the 3rd and 7th somewhere in the middle, and I'm not dogmatic about it. So I'm going to run a chorus, I'm going to run 8 bars here with the voicings, with the shells and the bass. Then I'm going to run it without the bass. Ready? 1, 2, autumn leaves now. Yeah, just 3 strings. Again, a 1. All right. Pretty easy, right? So that would be my recommended approach. Now, there's, again, a gazillion ways to do it. My own favorite, best bang for your buck, quickest shortcut way of doing this and be replicable on more than one song, not to be contrived to things that are specific to a tune, is to look at the 2nd string and attempt to add, depending on where you are, either the 5th or the 6th. 6th, aka the 13th for dominant chords, right? So 5th or 6th, or adding on the 2nd string your 9th. Case in point, let's put this on the screen. This is an A minor 7. So no bass, it's just these 3 notes. Or the alternative, to have the same 2 notes, so the 3rd and 7th. 7th and 3rd, so the other way around. That's an example. So after you do that work, now you have voicings in the middle, so the D, G, and B string, that can be carried through an entire progression, and that are minimalistic, that you're not getting in the way of the bass player or piano player. And if you use them wisely and with taste, they can really complement your typical jazz guitar voicings, and they're easier to move around too because there's less pressure. That said, of course, you will know, you've seen me comping in lots of videos in the past 12 years, so I also like to use the top string. So the top string has another sort of rule of thumb as well, which is you can typically add your 5th or your 9th, depending on where you're at, or the 5th could be the 13th as well. So it's case by case at this point. But remember, get back to the first video on the phases, and not to make this overly complicated, you can simply look at families. So this is major, minor, dominant, and then the altered, like, minor 7 flat 5 diminished family, and this one's the crazy one. So you only have 4 chord families, so you can really find A minor 7 and then add a 9th here and here and here, and find 5 or 6 ways to play the exact same chord that will be relevant and open up when you move on further with a chord melody or more expansive comping, or even during your soloing you can comp for yourself, right? So the best thing you can do for that 6th stage is to do pretty much what we've done with stage 1 and 2, is find these voicings, put them in time, right? So I did a bit of a run in stage 2 where you can just keep the rhythm steady. Please do that again with your voicings that are call them rootless or shells or minimalist voicing or whatever name you want to call them. And with that sixth stage in hand, you have everything to be a really solid, I call it an MVJG, so minimum viable jazz guitarist, which is my concept, which I teach in the Jazz Guitar Accelerator, for the record, link in the description below. And at that point, all we're left with is to go onto the phase 7, which is an improv workout, which is a replicable process to know how to solo on changes, which is pretty straightforward, but that requires a lot of discipline and attention. That said, if you're watching this video series and you have only these 6 stages up, and you can do this on 5, 10, 15 songs, you don't even need to go to the 7th stage if you don't want to be a soloist. If you want to sit down, accompany some singers or horn players, if you want to do some chord melody solo work, if you just want to sound like a solid guitarist, you don't need to solo like a maniac. You don't need to become a sax player on guitar for things to work out, right? So on that note, I will let you go with this video. Great work if you've made it this far, and you will see me in the next video, which is the stage 7. On that note, I don't know if it's released yet at the time at which you're watching this. So stage 7, stay tuned. Like and subscribe for more, of course. This is jazzguitarsons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher. Thank you. Stay tuned.